If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, civilians, to the home of elevation, growth, and experience. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, I am the civilized woman. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Civilized Woman channel. I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm coming before y'all. I'm posing a question, and I would love to hear what y'all have to say. So my question is there redemption for Chris Brown? Let me explain why I'm asking this question. So last week when Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl halftime show, like some hours later, Chris Brown put or some time later, Chris Brown put up a story that says, I think it's safe to say ... they need me, ! And with a winky smiley face, that what you see on the screen. So there seemed to be mixed reviews, probably a slight tinge to the negative. It felt kind of cringy. Yahoo called it cringy. First, let me just say, I'm not very familiar with Bad Bunny. That was literally my first time seeing him perform or hear anything from him. I'm sorry, he kind of sounded like a mumble rapper to me. I kind of can see why Chris Brown said what he said. Take the fact that his problematic history, and what else. I can't say I disagree with him. I do think that Chris would have been marginally better than Bad Bunny. Now, the imagery of Bad Bunny's show was phenomenal, but just even for what it didn't even sound like he was speaking Spanish, if I'm being very honest. I grew up in an area of a lot of Spanish speakers, a lot of Puerto Ricans, so it didn't even sound like that's what he was speaking. So I really didn't, I couldn't really disagree with Chris Brown. Now, again, this is somebody who's not familiar with Bad Bunny, and maybe if I was, I would. But what that made me think of is there a redemption for Chris Brown? Like, he is a phenomenal performer. Like him or not, have an issue with his history and his antics or not, he is a phenomenal performer. And should bad history matter? If somebody is a phenomenal performer and this is supposed to be a halftime show, like y'all remember what happened back with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, and I ain't never seen it for Justin Timberlake like that since. I feel like he threw Janet straight under the bus as a man, as somebody who was up the Jacksons behind. For him to leave her out there like that, he ended up being able to go to the Grammys, and then she couldn't. I don't want to go on a tangent on that. But then in 2018, after Nipplegate, he actually got to perform. So if he could get that opportunity again to perform, why is it not okay for Chris Brown to be able to do this strictly from a performance perspective? What is so problematic about his history that makes it a no-go for him to be able to perform at the Super Bowl halftime? Now, I don't want y'all to hear me ask these questions and think that I'm saying that I'm okay with Chris Brown's past or any antics that he may bring forth. If I'm being honest, I don't really follow Chris Brown like that. What I see of him is obviously what you hear. He's a phenomenal talent, writer, dancer, entertainer, all of the things. A lot of his peers speak highly of him, highly of his skills, highly of his ability, highly of his genius. So, the fact that his peers speak so highly of him does lend itself to something. The people that are around him seem to have hold him in high regard. But now the history is enough for people to feel a way about about Chris, and I think that is fair for people to feel a way about him, right? Because of everything that went on with Rihanna, it was those images of those pictures are so graphic. I think for a lot of people has imprinted in their brain, and that happened in 2019, and he was maybe 19 years old. Like he was like a teen. Like he was an adult, but he was young. He was under 20, I feel like, when that happened. And so that was etched in everybody's mind, and he has a history of his stepdad was abusive to his stepmother, and it's pretty much with statistics that if a child has been around domestic violence, they're likely gonna perpetrate that on, whether they're on the side of being a victim or being the perpetrator of the violence. So with all of that, it didn't stop there. I think also the problem is that in subsequent relationships, whether it's with Karrueche Tran or other people, that kind of violent tendencies kind of reared its head up, like whether he's had, restraining orders, he's had cases brought up against him for some kind of assault. So I can understand that, that there's been some kind of trail of that history that has gone on since the incident in 2009. Now, it's not what happened with Rihanna was like the biggest in terms of that. The other incidents seem to be in comparison smaller. So the question is, there is a difference though between forgiveness and redemption. So forgiveness is like only Rihanna can forgive him because she is the one that the offense was brought against, and she has forgiven him. She has moved on. They are actually cordial with each other. Obviously, these people are not friends and hanging with each other. In my personal opinion, I feel like if there was ever an opportunity that Rihanna is truly who he loves, and I think that he would go back to if there was any way for that door to be reopened, I feel like he would go back. Whether or not Rihanna would go back, probably not, because I think obviously she's moved on. Her and Rocky have 3 children. But if that wasn't the case, I feel like from a public perspective, it would not be beneficial to her brand. It would hurt her brand. Even if in her heart she would want to go back with him, her brand could not survive that. So the forgiveness part comes from Rihanna. Now the redemption, which lends itself to my question, that is public, because that's an ongoing process. That means a person has to show a history of, they have to be accountable. And then they also have to show that they have changed their ways and that they understand what they did and that they don't do any other problematic thing along the lines of what they would be seeking redemption for. And I don't think that he has. I think anybody there's redemption for anybody if you choose to elect to be redeemed, if you choose to make the steps to get redemption. I think another problem that with Chris is that there are accusations of him being a colorist. Now, with that, there are people who've come out and said, I've gone to clubs, and in his sections, there's always a rule of no dark skinned women. However, this young man gets women of all hues. That's even the dark skinned women that these colorist accusations have been brought up against about him, pay thousands of dollars to take pictures with him in whatever pose that they desire. They pay for the tickets, and then they pay this additional money to be able to take these pictures with him. And I mentioned earlier, like his peers and stuff. Kelly Rowland kind of got like a little bit of a backlash for like defending him, and she stood 10 toes down. There is, Tiana Taylor, who they've worked together and they've been very close. And at one point he kind of went up against her, and she still supports him. So you have all these people that he has. You have Seven Streeter, who is a dark skinned woman who he has worked with and collaborated with on a lot. So there's a lot of there seems to be contradictions in what it looks like he stands for and versus who he interacts with. Now, it is very clear that he has a specific type when it comes to the women that he chooses to have children with. Now, I think his oldest daughter, and she's also his oldest child, that mother kind of was like a break from that. Everyone else is like a Blasian type, Asian type person, very far from being, unambiguous as possible. So I think those are the two things that has gotten in the way of him being able to get redemption. If I'm being honest, I do think that he should have an opportunity to host, to be a Super Bowl performer. I really do. His shows sell out. For the people who go, they say that he is a phenomenal performer, that he put on a great show. And you've seen the few times that he has been on award shows, he puts on a great show. His music is always there's always some kind of viral challenge with it, whether it's the residual challenge or the it depends challenge. So there's always things that he's putting out there that people are gravitating towards. So clearly, people have there's some level of compartmentalizing that people have been okay or more than okay with supporting him. So I feel like if we're going to be supporting him with these different challenges, then you might as well go ahead on and let him do something like the Super Bowl, because you're going to get a show. For real, I was happy to see that he was at the Grammys, because I did feel like he really did deserve to be there, because It Depends was just such a huge song. Again, we're putting the past and all of that to the side. And even though he didn't win, I felt like it was okay because there was actual competition. Folded, Mud, there was actual competition this year. That made me happy. That whole category in general, there was actual competition. So it completely checks out that he would not win that, because he was up against some tough songs. That could have gone either way in that category. So, and for years he kind of was not up. He had not been, he had not gone to the shows or anything like that. He hasn't performed there in I don't know how long. I don't know if he'll ever get the opportunity to be able to do that there. But at what point are we able to say, okay, you did this horrible thing, but if we're supporting you in one aspect, why can't we not allow you to do other things? Like last year, he won the Best Outstanding Male Artist for the NAACP Image Award, right? So if he's winning Image Awards, if he's performing at the BET Awards, like at what point can we say, okay, we may not like what you have done in the past and we find you to be problematic, but we can say, okay, from a performance standpoint, he's within rights to be able to critique like a Bad Bunny performance or anybody else's performance for that matter. And he should absolutely get an opportunity to be able to do that from a performance perspective, because that halftime show is meant to entertain you and hold you to get you to the second half of the game. And it should be somebody who is electrifying and a performance that people can really enjoy and get behind. So obviously Chris Brown has some fan base. I do think that there is an opportunity for him to be redeemed. And in some level, it seems like he has, based on the fact that, people are going to his concerts, his songs go viral with all these viral challenges. And his peers speak highly of him. So that's just my thoughts as to if there is redemption for Chris Brown, and should he be able to perform at the Super Bowl. It seems I'll answer my own questions, and I'm looking forward to hearing y'all answer to it. Seems like there's a level of redemption that he has received based on the support that he continues to get. And number two, from a purely entertainment perspective, I do think that he should be able to have an opportunity to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show in the future. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Until next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.